Rimmy is what we'll be saying if I was playing 30 Shades of Gay 3, still gayer, real game by the way, but I'm not, no. Today I bring you a highly unserious, extremely funny and slightly egotistical review of Skyrim. Please be seated and expect numerous rim job jokes, sexually screaming dragon shouts, and giants and their giant willies. Now, Skyrim is widely regarded as one of the best games ever made, and if you won't take my word for it, take my girlfriend's word for it instead.
It's a good game.
The only knowledge she has of video games is when she hears me screaming in the middle of the night, but that being said, she still says it's a good game, so deal with it. However, back to Skyrim, I've only ever completed it once, and I wanted to run that shit back and go again, but this time, making a review out of it. Why? Content, innit? First things first though, as Skyrim is an extremely massive game, I'll only be going through the main storyline in this video, so if you're expecting to see me go on a 5-hour side quest to find the lost cock ring of King Peter III, you're in the wrong place. Now sit back, relax, and get ready for Skyrim Job 2, Job of all rims.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Yes, motherfucker, I am, and holy shit, that little bitch boy just got shot in the asshole with an arrow. Now, everyone, meet the orc version of Kratos from God of War, Cockwomble III. Cockwomble's head was then instantly placed on a fucking cinder block, ready to be deported from his neck region until, amazingly, a dragon went full Randy Orton, came out of nowhere, landed on a fucking tower, which somehow stopped the guy from chopping my dome off. Yeah, it makes no sense, but little does he know, even if he did kill me, I'd respawn because I'm basically Superman in every game I play. Moving swiftly on though, the impromptu dragon attack meant that me and the boys being some Stormcloak Jarl and a guy called Ralof, made like Houdini and fucking vanished. Ralof told me to jump off a tower, which I of course did, because even though I met the bloke 5 seconds ago, he's basically a brother to me now. Instantly stabbed my brother in the back by meeting up with an Imperial guard named Haligtree or some shit like that, I don't know, because I left his ass as soon as Ralof turned up, and we headed into the keep where we murked a few Imperials to obtain a key, then made our way through the nutty putty cave system, and inside it was basically a bush took a trial. We were met with more Imperials, spiders, and a big bear, before eventually heading out into Skyrim, where Ralof basically told me to fuck off and find my own way around this world, which I was more than glad to be honest, because his mildly shit detexturized hair was really starting to piss me off. However, just before telling me to fuck off, he told me to go meet with his sister, and I'm not going to lie, by the time I'd played through a session and come back to the script, I forgot half their names, so we'll just call this bitch Elsa from Frozen. Yeah, fuck it. On the way to meeting Elsa, I activated the Mage Stone, because I've always wanted to fulfill my dream of screaming Avada Kedavra at a small child, and this helps me gain that dream. Finally though, met up with Elsa, though, and turns out her name is Gerda. Fucking what sort of dog ass name is that anyway? She was zero help and just told me to go to the Jarl of Whiterun. So what was the point of me going to fuck Elsa? Gerda, fuck off. Anyway, back on track now in Whiterun, and holy shit, these motherfuckers are absolutely having it out with a giant. I, of course, came in and got the last hit on him and claimed all of the glory. My comrade saw this as an absolute win and asked me to join the companions. All I heard was that they make money and was instantly hooked. Watch this space, we'll be rimming them shortly. Finally though, after many sidetracks, made my way to the Whiterun Gate, where a guard tried to do his best bouncer outside of a nightclub impression, but I, a millennial, told him I know his manager, and he swiftly let me pass. Speaking of his manager, here he is, the Jarl of Whiterun. Seems like a pretty chill bloke, but it's fair to say he's Ulfric's #1 biggest hater. He escorted me to his very own personal rimmer. Sorry, meant wizard. Calm down. While talking to him, I got a bit bored and put some spark magic on instead of my shield, because I do love a good magica build. Anyway, the wizard, and no, I'm not talking Harry Potter, told me to go into a ruin and find a tablet. Fucking sounds pretty easy, but oh shit, what's this? That's right, ladies and gentlemen, I've been caught in a sting by a man called Avram, who's told me to collect a sword for him, or he'll turn me into the police. No bother, I'll get the sword and fucking keep that shit. Never mind, the sword is complete fucking wank, he can keep it. Good thing I gave it back to him too, as he was kind enough to not only let me go out of a sting operation, but he also gave me a life lesson in one-handed combat. Sucks to be him though, as he wasted his time, as I've just bought a magic battle axe. Fuck yes, dog! Anyway, back to my main quest line now, and oh shit, I don't have enough magicka to wield my imaginary battle axe. Looks like that shit's gotta wait. Anyway, once inside Bleak Falls Barrow, there was a cheeky little puzzle waiting for me, which I, of course, first time smashed. If you didn't know, I'm actually a world champ in Scrabble, argue with a wall. Once through that pissant puzzle, I was greeted with a native Australian spider who had wed up some fucking cat-looking motherfucker, and like the nice orc I am, I freed him. Instantly regretted that though, as the sly bastard ran off with the golden claw I needed, so I introduced him to the cremation process. Once I reduced him to ashes though, I stole the golden claw back and made my way through the cave system a little bit more. And after killing what felt like 5 million draugrs, which are basically Tesco value zombies, I finally made it to the door I needed. To open it, I inserted the golden claw with a certain combination, and upon doing this, the door opened along with my anal cavity due to the excitement I was feeling. Inside the room was some sort of foreign language on the wall, and now all of a sudden I could shout, scream and let it all out. Wrong way around, but it's still will.i.am big ups. Now, didn't actually know how to shout yet, but this fucking zombie overlord did. So he shouted at me a bit and made me cry, so I hacked him to death with my battle axe, to which I was kindly rewarded with the Dragonstone and a new and improved enchanted battle axe. Upon arriving back at Whiterun, I was met with a hero's welcome by the wizard, which got a little bit too friendly as he started rimming me under the desk. I thought I'd attempt to ride that luck and see if I could get a filthy little rimmy from the Jarl. Sadly though, he told me I had to take my horny ass outside and fight a dragon, which had now decided to show up again. However, he did give me a magic helmet, which increased my magicka by 20, which meant I was finally able to wield my imaginary battle axe. So, in other words, that dragon is going to have the absolute soul sucked out of him sexually. Turns out this was a pretty empty threat, as the dragon gave me that Gwop 5000 and absolutely destroyed my ass with one hell of a pummeling. I, a logical thinker, instantly blamed my magic battle axe, so decided to whip out the bow and schmarrow, and this time, it's fair to say, I rimmed his ass nice and wet. In other news though, upon killing the dragon, the boys made a pretty obscure prediction that I was Dragonborn. So to firmly reassure them, I decided to fucking shout at them so hard they did a 360 no-scope off the top of the high-rise crane. Now if you're like me and slightly not all there in the head, a Dragonborn is someone who can steal dragon powers, so just to double check that I was definitely a dragonborn sperm cell that was floating around in my dad's balls all them years ago, I decided to shout at the boys one more time before quickly returning to Whiterun, fearing for my life as they seemed pretty fucking pissed off. Once I'd returned to Whiterun, a young strapping boy started piping up to me, but before I absolutely fucking Fosra darted him into the outer regions of space, he handed me a letter telling me that someone observed my use of tomb. I probably butchered that, but yep, at the watchtower and would like to meet me. I instantly dismissed him as nothing but a fucking fanboy and went and celebrated our massive W with the Jarl in Dragon's Reach. And due to me being a legitimate Don at the moment, he gave me the title of Thane of Whiterun, which came with a new weapon and bitches. Well, one bitch called Lydia, but still, bitches. He also told me I needed to head to High Hrothgar to meet up with the Greybeards, as they would teach me the ways of a Dragonborn. He told me that this was urgent and I've got to go fucking instantly. But I am nobody's bitch, so I went and met the companions who asked me to join them earlier on. Spoke to a guy named Codlack, but I don't fuck with that name, so we'll call him Kodak Black. Kodak Black instructed me to go out into the courtyard and have a scrap with his buddy called Vilkas. So, because I am his bitch, I immediately went out there and absolutely shit on Vilkas and made him cry so fucking hard, he made me his errand boy as a receipt. My first errand was to run his sword, which apparently is worth more than me, but this motherfucker needs to watch his tone, because I'll end his shit quicker than he can take a piss. Up to Yorland, I don't fucking know, to get it sharpened. Yorland seemed like a decent bloke and informed me that the companions don't have any leaders. I simply laughed at this because I'm about to show this guy communism one-on-one when I take over this bitch. He also told me to be nobody's errand boy, but then instantly became the biggest hypocrite in all of Tamriel and sent me off with a shield to give to a woman called Ayla. Once I met Ayla, she legit couldn't stop rimming me, told me I'm him, and I'm 10 times the man Vilchris will ever be. She then gave me my own room, and I was finally accepted into the companionship. I don't know, calling them companions feels a bit dumb. Like, companionship sounds better, but you know. Right, back on track now, though, and it was time to head up to High Hrothgar. Stole a horse off a bloke, to which he told me he'd kill me. He did not. And then finally, after climbing Mount fucking Everest and Mauna Kea combined, I reached the Greybeards. Now, initially, I thought the Greybeards were going to be some form of evil cult of murderers and creepy men, but in an incredible turn of events, they're actually pretty sound. They allowed me to freely flex my shout around the gaff and even introduce me to a new shout, which I'm fairly certain has the capability to blow the eardrums out of Helen Keller's non-existent ears. After I finished glazing my ass in the main hall though, they took me outside for my next trial, where I literally became the fucking Flash and A-Train in one. Fucking noun, dickhead! Now, the last trial they set me was to retrieve the horn of Jurgen Klopp. Yep, not Windcaller, it's Klopp. To which I, of course, immediately fucking obliged. However, did not realise the destination upon which I had to arrive at was over 75,000 square fucking kilometres away. So I gave the carriage driver a quickie and he took me to Solitude, which luckily was just down the road from Oostengrav, which is where Jurgen Klopp's horn is located. Upon my arrival in Solitude, I saw a man get sent on a one-way trip to heaven, so to ease my grief and pain, I went ahead and bought myself a necromancer's robe, before finally arriving at Oostengrav and was greeted by two very much alive bandits and one very fucking dead bandit. Don't know what happened, must have been some sort of bandit threesome gone wrong. Now inside Oostengrav, I was once again completely fucking destroyed, so I decided to fuck the robes off and went back to armour. This didn't help, so I decided to also fuck the magic battle axe off because I had come to the realisation that it was completely shit, so Flaming Heel was the way forward. If the way forward is going backwards, because I still proceeded to get shafted multiple times before finally decided upon my tactic of fucking send it past everyone and hope for the best. And mission success as this somehow worked, and I came upon a contraption in which I had to whirlwind shout through, which I achieved successfully, but was then incinerated. Second try, I got through the door and incineration, but became a dinner to a spider. But, as I say, third time's a charm, and this time the spider decided to kill itself in the flame trap. And after all that, I finally made it to Jurgen's grave, and long and fucking behold, he's already been robbed. But don't worry, don't fucking worry. The motherfucker was kind enough to leave me a note to meet them at the Sleeping Giant Inn in Riverwood. So, let's put this in perspective. I just got out through absolute hell for a note. Fuck my life, bruv. Fuck that. So I promptly arrived in Riverwood, ready to get on the piss with our mysterious friend, before suddenly I got absolutely fucking clapped by a cultist. Luckily though, with the help of a few locals, managed to subdue the cultists, and upon looting their dead corpses, I found a letter ordering my assassination. I didn't think that was very kind, but I had alcohol on my mind. I'm a poet, and I didn't know it. So, off to a fucking boozer I went, rented a nice little room, when all of a sudden the innkeeper walked in on me. Well, I thought, oh, fuck me, I'm getting lucky. But this wasn't the case. She revealed that it had been her who stole Jurgen Klopp's horn. But before I could shout it a bit so hard she'd end up in the chimney, she actually just handed me the horn. No questions asked. I was taken aback by this, so pursued her into her room, which had a hidden doorway closet down to her basement. On the table was a book of the Dragonborn and a map of dragon burial sites, which I immediately stole and then engaged in a conversation with her. She went on to tell me that the dragons were dead and had been brought back to life, so zombie dragons? Sick. She told me they were to go to Kingsgrove, I don't know, to kill a dragon so that I could prove that I was Dragonborn and not some phony bitch. I agreed and told her I'd meet her there. But before I met up with her, I went back to High Hrothgar to give the Greybeards the horn of Jurgen Klopp and complete my trials as Dragonborn. As a reward of completion, they taught me the word of Wolfgar, which basically meant I could fully shout Fosradar, and they also commenced a ceremony to formally recognise me as a Dragonborn. Now, how do they do this? I hear you asking. They shouted at me. It's fucking rude. So, due to me being pissed off about the shouting, I stormed out of High Hrothgar and met back up with Delphine at Kingsgrove to vent. Turns out, she's a shit therapist, and instead told me to look up at the dragon that was now flying above our heads. I thought, fucking hell, that's light work. It was not, and he absolutely schmirked my dark. So I re-strategized, whipped out the bow and schmarrow again, and this time we successfully defeated Slocknir, the dragon. That is a dumb name. And this made me 2 for 2 on dragons. Yeah, I might be him. Went and had a small chit-chat with Delphine, who told me we should infiltrate the Falmore embassy. And you know me, I love a bit of high treason, so I couldn't wait for her to tell me the plan back at Riverwood. But a slight problem had begun to emerge, that being how fucking weak I was. So it was time to go on a bit of a grind fest to get some better gear. So I'm going to skim through this shit real quick for you. First of all, I picked up Lydia and bought some tome books, which was a huge mistake. Stay tuned to figure out why, and then went to College of Winterhold. Once there, some bitch told me to shoot fire at the floor, and I was then granted access to the college and met Mirabelle Irvine, who took me on the shittest tour ever, and then told me to go and have a lecture with Tolfdir. Tolfdir then immediately assaulted me and told me it was a learning opportunity. After this, I decided to call it quits on the college due to aggravated assault, pressed charges, and headed for some caves. First cave was the Honeystrand Cave, which rewarded me with a steel warhammer, which was enough for me to fuck the magicka build off and become a brute force monster. Next place we went was the Embershed Mine, which gave me a decent bit of gold. Then we went off to do some work for the companions. First up on their agenda, for me, was to go and beat the shit out of Amram, who was setting up illegal stings in the area. Went back and reported the good news to Farkas, who told me my next mission was to retrieve a fragment of Wufrad. I think that's how you say it, I'm not sure. Now, in the middle of this quest, right, Farkas decided, fuck it, werewolf time. And it was probably the coldest shit I've seen all year. We then retrieved the fragment and I was rewarded with the fire breath shout, which gave me a massive hard-on. And then finally we returned to Jorvaska and I was glazed to fuck by the companions, especially Farkas, who completely sucked me dry, which is funny considering other than turning into a werewolf, he did fuck all on that mission. Now, after all that, it was time to continue with the main questline. That questline being continued at Riverwood, where I met back up with Delphine to talk about how I was going to infiltrate the Falmore embassy. She told me there'd be a party, and I'd need to be ready to get my sesh on. Once in the party, I'd have to find some files with the help of an inside man who would smuggle some items in for me. No, this isn't Ross Kemp, this is Skyrim. When I met up with a smuggler to be in Solitude, and he instantly insulted me for literally no reason whatsoever. But so be it. At least I don't help Santa during the Christmas holidays, you elf fuck. After a slight war of words, I handed him my steel warhammer and my armour, because that's all I need to become a fucking demon in the embassy. After this, went back to Delphine, who gave me quite possibly the shittest party clothes I've ever seen, and now it was time to commit some high treason. So, to get into the door that would lead me to the files in the embassy, I had to cause a slight distraction, so I located the local alcoholic and gave him an alcoholic beverage. That problem then solved itself, and me and Malborn snuck into the back room, where I reobtained my gear and headed to the roof, where a Falmore wizard fell in love with me so quick he lightning bolted my asshole a bit too hard and caused me to fall over. Luckily though, I beat my stalker and found the files, which included files on Delphine, Ulfric Stormcloak, as well as Esbern, a man I was not familiar with. Continued to be a good Samaritan and freed a bloke from prison. Have no idea why he was locked up, but let's hope it's nothing too serious. And oh shit, the guards have caught Malborn. Reluctantly, I helped him out and then made my way through a dead body sewer system toward the exit. Ran into a troll and absolutely shat myself after seeing how much damage he can do, so I ran all the way back to Delphine, almost crying for my mother. Delphine told me to stop being a pussy and fill her in, and no, not in the way you think, get your mind out of the gutter. So, I informed her that the Falmore are not reanimating dead dragons, but they are, however, hunting Esbern, who has some very, very uncanny resemblances to Epstein, but more on that later. Delphine once again sent me off to do her dirty work because she's a lazy bitch, so I made my way to Riften, where Esbern was hiding out, to speak to a guy named Brynjolf. Fucking, this indigestion is killing me. Oh, Brynjolf was a shady motherfucker, and he asked me to stage a robbery, which I fucking loved and got involved straight away, then got caught. Nevertheless though, this guy has a heart of gold and told me to go see some people in the Ragged Flagon, which was located in the Ratway. Never mind. Holy shit, the guy is a complete wanker and has led me into a den of wankers. All good though, because they are all low-level pussies, and I made it to the Ragged Flagon in one piece. I then went up to the bar to grab a drink, but the barman was a major cunt to me. He was called Veckle the Man, but does not look like Becky Lynch at all, and after I paid him some money, he told me Esbern was holed up in a cell somewhere in the Ratway Vaults. Fuck me. Any more running around, you may as well call me Elliot Kipchoge. This shit is a joke. Finally found the little pussy, and he has to be the most annoying knobhead I've ever witnessed in my life. He acts like a child up until you say a magic password, in which he will then let you into his fucking Quinta times padlocked cell, where he finally had a conversation with me. He told me that Alduin had returned, and only a Dragon Ball could kill his bitch ass. Not Dragon Ball, Dragonborn, not Dragon. We're not playing Dragon Ball Z here. Ignore. I can't be asked to go change it in the script neither, so we're just going to continue like I've not said that. Luckily for him, I exist. So I took him back to Delphine, and we were now known as the Spit Roasting Threesome. Yep, that's actually on the script, deal with it. Anyway, Esbern and Delphine decided they'd be joining me on my next adventure. That adventure being that we were to go to Skyhaven Temple and find Alduin's Wall, which is basically Skyrim's version of the Bio Tapestry. Yeah, that one's for you history nerds out there. I did listen in school, even though I'm fucking dumb. So the Spit Roasters headed for Skyhaven, and we're ready to spit roast each... Oh, I gotta stop. That's disgusting. Bro, Esbern's about 78 years of age as well. I'm actually like, what? Anyway, that's the 45th time I've said anyway now, but anyway, it was an absolute fucking war to get into the cave. I'm talking a dragon, some fucking cannibal-looking motherfuckers. This shit was no joke, but eventually we made our way in, and after some light puddle solving and a huge face door, we made it to Alduin's Wall, where Esbern immediately creamed everywhere, and in his orgasmic moaning, he told me that the key to defeating Alduin was a shout. So I went to the Greybeards to seek their assistance in learning this shout, but to absolutely no avail, as Arngir told me he'd rather watch the world end than help Esbern and Delphine. Luckily though, big man Einarth stepped in and in dragon language said, "Listen here, Einar mate, I think you're being a bit of a cunt here." And after being told this, Arngir completely shat his pants and taught me a shout I would use to get to the top of the mountain to speak to Parthenax, the leader of the Greybeards. And holy fuck balls, Parthenax is a dragon. That's fucking sick as fuck. I can't lie though, he's a bit weird as he clearly has a harm fetish, as he made me scream fire in his face, but overall he's a pretty chill guy who taught me about the Dragon Wren shout. But sadly even Parthenax was useless as he didn't actually know the shout. He then called the shout useless and said it was actually the Elder Scroll I needed, as this was what sent Alduin to the future on his Doc Emmett shit. So my next objective was to obviously find and locate the Elder Scroll and bring it back to Parthenax's mountaintop to travel back in time. Yep, sounds pretty fucking simple. So we went and spoke to Esbern, and he told me I should head to the College of Winterhold, which I wasn't too keen on, as I had literally been assaulted there a mere 2 days ago, but it is what it is. Fuck my PTSD, I guess. We're going back to Winterhold. Once at the college, I headed into the Arcanium and was greeted by a man who, I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name, but he's really fucking ugly, and he said he doesn't have the Elder Scroll, but pointed me in the direction of a man named Septimus Sigmus. Sigma. Sigma was out in the ice fields, and yes, I do have the brain of a 12-year-old child. So, anyway, on the way there, I ran into your mom before finally meeting Sigmus, who had quite clearly lost his fucking mind. He said a whole lot of nothing and gave me some strange items, so I checked the quest to see what my next objective was. Recover the Elder Scroll. Brilliant, we're on the right track. Followed the waypoint to a place called Alftand and entered in hopes of finding this scroll. Found some dwarven armour, went down a windy steampunky type area, went through Jellyfish Valley and finally pressed some buttons in a completely random order and boom, Elder Scroll was mine. If only it was that simple, but it is for the sake of this video. Now, all I had to do was take it to the mountain and read it. Once back at the mountain, I read the Elder Scroll and continued to go full Marty McFly and get sent back to the future. Double pun there, by the way. I experienced possibly the most cinematic fight scene in gaming history. That's sarcasm, obviously. Then Alduin appeared and the Dragon Wren was revealed to me. Joseph! Yeah, fucking nailed that, bro. Continue to watch an unreal fight scene and eventual banishment of Alduin before suddenly being transported back to present day and being greeted with none other than the main man himself, Alduin. And let me tell you, this fight was fucking difficult, and I must have put over 250,000 points of damage into this cunt before finally beating him. But guess what? That's right, boys. That motherfucker is not dead. Not even demobilised. He flew straight off. What a bitch. Got speaking to Parthenax shortly after, and he basically went full Doctor Strange on my ass and told me we're in the endgame now, and informed me I had to trap a dragon in the Dragon's Reach in Whiterun. Yeah, fucking easy that is, mate. Cheers. Yeah, no bother. So went and spoke to the Jarl of Whiterun, who I'm pretty sure is called Balgruff, but I'm still not sure on his name. But he wasn't happy with the idea at all. But after some like sloppy toppy in his throne, he allowed me to use Dragon's Reach as a trap if he could form a truce between the Empire and the Stormcloaks. So me, the Peacemaker, went ahead and spoke to the Greybeards, who told me to gather General Tullius, who was a bit of a prick, and Ulfric Stormcloak, who quite possibly might have the manliest, most dominant voice I've ever fucking heard.
I can't afford to appear weak.
Once they were gathered, we headed to Hrothgar and conducted truce negotiations. I sat down first to assert my dominance while everyone else blankly stared at me until the Greybeards walked in. I became massively biased towards the Stormcloaks because fuck communism, and General Tullius wasn't happy about this, so begun calling me out. I called him a bitch under my breath so he wouldn't hear me, and we moved forward in discussions until Esbern piped up and told everyone to start acting like children, which is fucking highly ironic coming from a guy who locked himself in a cell with over 500 padlocks. It's ironic. Eventually, though, the boys all came to a decision, and it was time to trap a dragon. Esbern taught me the dragon call shout, and I headed to the top of Dragon's Reach, where I called the biggest bastard of all dragons and trapped him under what seemed like a chandelier. Lydia started scrapping someone for literally no reason at all, and I then immediately let the dragon go because he said he would take me to Skulfordun, which would lead me to Sovngarde. So, boom, I jumped on the dragon's back, full Gorod Kurovi style, and made touchdown in Skulfordun, where I was absolutely fucking mauled by just about everything you can imagine and name. I was destroyed. But no turning back now, because as Parthenax said, we're in the endgame. So I marched forward to Sovngarde, made it through Skulfordun Temple pretty easily despite a few annoying puzzles, and after that was then greeted by some decrepit looking motherfucker who had the ability to one-hit me with a storm spell. I had to kill her to gain access to Sovngarde, so I can hear you asking, how, Lhynxy, how'd you kill this ugly bitch? Cheese. So much cheese I'm in a dairy farm, bruv. So much cheese I'm milking a cow. So much cheese I've made a margarita pizza, whipped it up in a fucking Domino's-esque fucking arena, served it to the people. So much mozzarella, you'd think I'm a mozzarella stick. So much cheddar, I've made a crisp brand to rival mini cheddars. So much blue cheese, my name's Blueface, but I'm actually called Blue Cheese the rapper, and I can rhyme on my beat. Cheese, so much fucking cheese. Finally made it into Sovngarde, which is basically The Walking Dead, Skyrim edition. And after a light scrap with a bloke named Tsoon, he granted me access to the Hall of Valor. Inside was a lovely guy called Ysgramor, who directed me in the path of the former three heroes who sent Alduin into the future. Gormlaith, Hakon, and Feldir. Definitely butchered all three of them names, but who cares? And we gathered a fucking army to get out there and slap Alduin so hard he'd be crying in his sleep. First things first, me and my fellow Dragonborns cleared the mist that befell Sovngarde. Yeah, that's fucking authoric. That's not a word, but whatever. But anyway, we did this to lure Alduin in, and from there it was actually really fucking easy. Like, this was insanely anticlimactic, but nevertheless, with my last arrow, I dick-slapped Alduin on his bold-ass head, and Skyrim was finally safe again. So, that's that then. From nearly getting decapitated to becoming the hero of all heroes. Little did I know, the real reason I was getting decapitated was due to battery on an OIP. But I'm a hero, so fuck you. Overall, after nearly 15 years, Skyrim still feels good as new. If a game came out like this, in the current state that games are in, I think it would be hailed as the best game ever created, because, let's be real, we're all so brain rotted now, we consider the new COD to be the best thing since sliced bread. But this game right here is still fucking incredible, and I think it always will be a timeless classic. I mean, think about it. You got fucking dragons, spells, wizards, robotic dwarven things, and the list goes on. The main questline is such a small piece of the massive cake that Skyrim is, and that's not even mentioning the DLCs. So, after all is said and done, Skyrim gets a hearty 4.5 meaty rock-ons out of 5. As I think other than leveling up and being a little bit too slow at times, this game is near perfect. So, with all that being said, I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe for more game reviews. We got Metro Exodus coming out soon. Never played that before, so stay tuned for that bad boy. And leave a comment down below suggesting any games you want to see next or any videos on the channel you'd like to see. And as a final parting note, go follow me on Twitch at twitch.tv Lhynxy so I can talk to you lot. Alright, go enjoy the rest of your year because there's like 2 days left. Peace.